Hi, I'm Alex Jones. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. And I am going to go over what happened to Janet Sanchez. And we've got her fiance here with us, Joe Flores. And her 8-year-old daughter, Haley, is out there in the office with some of the other ladies that work here at the office. Now, this affects everybody. This affects everybody out there watching, everybody out there listening. And I'm sure most of you already know this. Most of you already understand this. Because just here in the office yesterday when I got off air and found out this was going on and Janet was crying, everybody around the office, including Mike, was going, yeah, when my boy was 8, he's 11 now, he had a bruise on his shin and they saw it in PE and called me in and my son told him I didn't do it, that it was from soccer. I mean, you ought to see my kids from playing soccer. After soccer practice, they just bruises all over their legs. That's what happens. But they tried to take them, and then they tried to say that they said, does your dad smoke? And they called smoking cigarettes a drug, and they threatened him they'd take his kids if he didn't drug test. He didn't have any drugs in his system. This is how crazy the secret police stuff is, and you have due process. You're not a slave. They set up the family courts under the eugenics courts to sterilize 400,000 plus Americans in the 20s through the 80s. That's where these special courts came from. Okay. We're not going to get into too many more details about Haley, but we may, with the cameras off, because we're live at PrisonPlanet.tv, have her in here a little bit later just to, on record here from the eyewitness that they told her, you're going to get in trouble if you don't tell us what your mommy did. And they said, your mommy did that bruise. Your mommy did that bruise. And they may be coming to arrest Janet Sanchez. We've got her fiance here, Joe. You guys have got the floor. Tell folks what it's been like going through this. And we're going to try to give the numbers out to this county. Again, I can't help everybody, but this is happening in my own backyard. I'm asking folks for help. This is also an educational thing on air of how folks can counter this. Go ahead, Janet.
Okay. It's just been really emotional, because my daughter feels like it's her fault that all this has happened. Yeah. And I think it's crazy. It's ridiculous. She had one bruise. I took pictures. They took pictures yesterday, and I saw the bruise, and there's one bruise. Now, you took pictures last night. To be clear, they first interrogated her Monday. Had police there yesterday. Yeah. You took a photo. Yeah, and they took pictures yesterday and had her pull her pants down yesterday. And so that was 2 days that they...
Since when do men get to strip search little girls? I mean, this country is just really going to hell.
I don't know if I think she told me both of the male cops were out of the office, but the CPS lady and the nurse and counselor were in.
Yeah, well, it wasn't clear, but she said the cops ordered her. They
told her that she needed to take her
pants off, or she would be in trouble. And that
they made her she asked them to close the mini blinds because she felt that uncomfortable.
My God! And then they told her to. She said twice. They said, "Tell the truth. Your mother did that." Yeah. Unbelievable.
She tried to tell him, I do not want to remove my pants down. But they told her, if you don't take your pants off, you're going to be in trouble. So she had to do what they told her.
It's terrorism.
They forced her to do something, and that right there does not make me happy or her happy, and it's very stressful right now. Janet.
Well, Janet, what happened yesterday when I said, do what you want, but this is what I would do. This is what the law, and later I gave you lawyer printouts where that's what they recommend. I said, why don't you meet her at a gas station? And then I said, but drive through because there's probably going to be a cop there. Tell folks what you saw.
There was a unmarked car, it looked like, and a lady sitting in the car. So I'm assuming those were the people I was meeting because they weren't parked in front of the gas station as if they were getting off or anything.
And you said she was, the cop guy was out and had like something on.
Yeah, I saw something black on the side of his pocket, so I assumed maybe it was just.
But you weren't looking too close. I told you, don't look, get out of there.
You were like, don't look, they're going to see you suspicious or something. So I just drove through, and like not even a minute or two later, she called. She asked where I was. I told her I was just pulling out of the. I mean, I didn't.
Well, I confirmed that was her. Yeah. I called her this morning.
I wasn't able to meet her, but
that was her there because I called her this morning. I said, we saw you and your friend there at the gas station. She said, oh, you did, and I was like, yeah.
So she said she was at the gas station. Where was I? And I told her, I'm not going to meet you. I'm sorry.
And then she threatened you. She said, I'm going to have to call the police if you don't come in.
Yeah, she's like, I'll just inform them that you were uncooperative. I was like, well, I can meet with you tomorrow. So I made arrangements.
Yeah, you got to meet when they want. I mean, it's like when they come to your door, you go, no, you don't have a warrant. This is my house. Get out of here, you little scumbag. You're just here to get money. I mean, folks, My children have bruises all over them year round. They're always playing. They have a tree house. I mean, when they're in gymnastics, swimming, soccer, basketball. I mean, you know, my son's had his lip busted by the basketball hitting him while I lose him because the YMCA basketball. When they play soccer, they get bruises. I mean, is soccer illegal? I mean,
correct. It's very, very frustrating over here on our end. I've had this happen before. Counselors giving me a call that my son has bruises on their legs. It's where they just take advantage of the children, and that really is wrong.
But Joe, that's bad enough for him to call you and be secret police. They called the cops and strip searched her, and took photos, and are now running around with cops after you.
Right.
And this all, I mean, if they were that concerned, they would have made arrangements for me to be there Tuesday because all this happened Monday.
No, they don't want you to know.
Yeah, so
they do this in secret.
Questioned her 2 days without my knowledge. I mean, I asked her why she didn't tell me. She said she was scared, so I don't know what they told her. Like, don't.
I talked to her. They told her not to talk to you. I remember that was in the conversation.
So
stay right there. We'll be back in 70 seconds. Fighting the child kidnappers.
You're listening to GCN, the world leader in independent talk radio. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We got a lawyer coming on in 15 minutes, one of the ones recommended by some of the parent rights and homeschool defense groups because they really harass homeschoolers. They've even had to pass a lot of state laws. Texas has had to pass state laws decrying CPS and the whole system because it came out that the entire youth commission operation was at every facility raping the children. That's the Texas Youth Commission, and I have the new laws here written to counter that. I mean, this is getting serious, folks. I mean, this, and you heard the CPS worker earlier, you know, admitting that there's all these criminals involved in it. Okay, so we're talking to Joe and Janet. We're talking about Haley, your daughter. I mean, I wanted the truth. Plus, spanking's not illegal. But I know when I look at a bruise and it's that big on her thigh, that wasn't even it. And I know she was telling the truth because I've got a good BS detector. I do this. That you didn't do that to her. It doesn't matter. The point is, you don't strip search her. You don't not follow due process. You go get a warrant. You go get an indictment. You know, but the family courts don't think that they have to do that. We're going to give their phone numbers out coming up in the next segment. Other points you guys want to add?
Go ahead, sweetie. Anything else?
I don't know. I feel really bad for me and Haley just because we're going to go into school and I'm going to be recognized as that lady who beat her child or whatever they think. And
yeah, you called this morning to say you were taking her to the doctor, and they were, and like suddenly you know usually you call to say your kid's going to be sick. She said she's been sick 3 times this year, and they're like, okay, fine. This was 20 questions. They were like, oh, hi, Janet. You're going to take her to the doctor if she's sick, right? You're not abusing her. So they're just like they're all little secret police minions now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's their protocol, but
no, it's not. They're secret police.
So I just feel really bad, and we drive her across town thinking that she was going to a better school. She's on a student transfer. Just
A and B student.
Yeah.
Well, Buta's only about 8% Hispanic, and I don't know if this is a race card issue, but that needs to be investigated. You're saying mostly. I mean, there's always that subconscious thing of, and we've seen this with the eugenics, how these family courts were set up. They first mainly grabbed Native Americans and blacks. And then they moved on to everybody else by the 60s and 70s and 80s. But the family courts were set up to carry out racial hygiene. So they were set up inherently to attack non-whites.
Right.
Correct. It's just like when I went down for her field trip. It's very uncomfortable. Like I was being a criminal just being there at that school district. It's very uncomfortable.
So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel really bad. It's been emotional. Haley wrote me an apology letter. Now she feels like she did wrong.
But it's not her fault.
Yeah.
They told her at least twice, you're going to be in trouble. She kept saying, no, that my grandma. They'd say, tell me the truth. Your mother did that, didn't she? Mm-hmm. Your mother spanks you. And she went, I guess before I've been spanked.
And when I asked the CPS officer, I was like, so you saw bruises on my daughter? She said, yes. I go, that means you must have took her pants down because I know what Haley wears to school.
Yeah, you get a call first before you're even told by your daughter because they told your daughter not to tell you. And psychology studies show people rape kids and they won't tell their parents because they get scared. They're embarrassed.
Yeah, so when I confronted her with that about her pulling my daughter's pants down, she said that Haley did it willingly.
Here's an example. When I was 3, I had a babysitter try to sexually assault me, a neighbor kid, that, like a teenager they had keep me. I never told my parents about it. I'm talking about it for the first time here. But I said no and refused. I was a pretty tough little kid. I didn't want to put that in my mouth.
So I was like, my 8-year-old willingly took her pants off. I was like, no, I just think it was all wrong. And I'm really upset that I wasn't notified Monday or Tuesday by the school at least, oh, we're a little concerned. Something would have helped, not for me to get blindsided, slapped in the face.
Well, they're not your friends, and they operate outside the law. They are a eugenics organization, and most of this trash doesn't even know what they're part of. They're either control freaks, or they're pedophiles, or they're bounty hunters. That's it. 50+% leave. They get there, they're like the lady that called earlier, and they go, I'm not... We can handle the small percentage of real child endangerment and abuse with the police. Stay with us. The lawyer's coming up.